Peace. This is the enemy's public, and I'm Bro.Nasir.
Peace and blessing. This is Brother Ibrahim.
Peace, is brother Kahree, and
Um,
this is the enemy's
this
public.
evening, we are going to discuss two movies that came out. One movie was directed by Nate Parker, called American Skin, and one movie was directed by Regina King, called One Night in Miami. Um, American Skin is a movie that was written by our brother, our very talented brother,
Brothers,
Nate Parker.
I'm having a difficult time hearing.
You can't hear
For
me,
some
brother?
reason, I'm not hearing anything. It sounds like I'm muted.
Did you hit your mic? I can hear you.
I can
Yeah,
hear you.
it's happening like it was happening before when I was telling you I can hear you, but it sounds like it's on a. It sounds like the volume is really, really low, and I can barely hear y'all, but y'all can hear me.
Yes, sir. Let's let me see. Let me test my mic. This is getting on my nerves with this. Can you hear me?
I can hear you
Very
very well.
low. I hear you very low. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go out and try to come back in and see if
Yes,
that
sir.
allows me to pick back up.
Okay. How are you hearing me, brother Ibrahim?
I hear you loud and clear. I hear both of you loud and clear.
Okay. Okay. We're gonna let the brother go out and come back in, then we'll get to the subject matter.
Yes, sir.
How you doing, big brother?
Oh, brother, just sitting back, just viewing the movie, studying a little bit. That's all.
Okay.
Keeping my head intact.
Yes, sir.
That's one of the things. Reading is something that keeps you from getting Alzheimer's. So I try to stay in tune with the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad to make sure that I'm in tune with the messenger Allah who came in the person of Master Farad Muhammad and our dearly beloved divine reminder I miss today, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, and those brothers and sisters of like minds. But just
yes, sir.
yes, sir.
Yes, sir. We must be steadfast, brother. We must be steadfast. Let brother Kahree come back in. We'll get into it. I see we have our good brother Chris Cyphers in the chat. Salute to the brother, to the young brother,
Yes, sir.
our fellow comrade,
Yes, sir.
from the originally from the East Coast, but he's out on the West Coast now.
Okay.
But
All praises due to Allah.
that's our brother.
Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam.
Walaikum salam.
All right, we back in business.
Brother,
All right. Alhamdulillah. Yes, sir.
are you hearing better?
Absolutely.
Yes, sir. Praise due to Allah. Oh, as I was saying, brothers, American Skin is a movie directed by our brother who brought us Birth of a Nation, Nate Parker. Um, you know, it's not a biopic, but it's a story of the black man's life living here in the wilderness of North America. Nate Parker, he played the father who just came home from, you know, fighting for this nation to keep, you know, America in the position it's in, and he gained custody of his son. And he wanted his son to have the best education, and he took a job as a janitor so he can enable his son to go to a school that he thought was better. Now, the scene in the movie that brought all the commotion was when they was pulled over because they was driving through the wrong neighborhood, so to speak, according to the race soldiers. And they were profiled because there's no way you can actually speed through a neighborhood with speed bumps 20 feet apart. You'll mess up your manifold and everything under your car if you did that. But they were profiled and pulled over. The police officer asked the brother for his credentials. The brother obliged him, and the police officer on the driver's side informed the brother that he had an expired insurance, and the brother said, "I have valid insurance. Let me get it." So instead of letting the brother retrieve it, he pulled him out the car and he attempted to get it. Yet the young brother on the side. Now I'm gonna go to the names first. Nate Parker played a brother called Lincoln Jefferson, and his son name was Tajani Jefferson. And Tajani reached for his cell phone and started recording. And it angered the officer on the passenger side. Not because he pulled a weapon. Actually, it is a weapon. But actually, you know, the phone is a weapon. He pulled the phone out and began recording. The officer, his name is what was his officer name? This officer name was what was this guy's name? Actually, this guy played on another movie where he's a nitwit also. That Regina King was in. She was in that movie also. Michael Randall, Officer Michael Randall.
7 seconds.
7 seconds, absolutely. Officer Michael Randall ordered the young brother out the vehicle and told him to stop recording, put your phone down, stop recording. The young brother said, "I have a right to record. I could record you. You can't stop me from recording you." It angered the police officer so much that he aggressed the brother violently, and subsequently the young brother was shot and killed. Now, fast forward to a year later, authorities did what they always do when one of us is murdered. They concluded that there was no wrongdoing by the police officer, which is most case scenario here in the wilderness of North America. If any one of the brothers want to elaborate thus far, please do so.
Yeah. The young brother, as he was recording, and the officer, you know, when he approached the Randall cat, approached from the passenger side, and he told him to stop recording, and he wanted him to get out of the car as well. The brother, once he got the young brother out the car, the young brother seen them aggressing his father, and he started to make a move towards going to the back while he was still taping. But the whole while he knew it was a telephone. And when he seen him going away from him, he actually shot the young brother in the back.
In the back.
Yeah, the young brother got shot in the back. So the young brother was actually, he didn't pose no threat because he was going away from the harm. And that's when, you know, he opened fire on that young brother and shot him in the back. And so often and so many times, this is a scenario that plays out with inside black communities, period.
That's the new thing, shooting us in the back.
Yeah.
Um, Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum
Walaikum
salam.
salam, sir.
Uh, in my observance of, I seen the preview. I haven't had a chance to see the movie, but the preview showed enough, and it did show the young brother filming and what the officer did. And I want to piggyback off the phone being a weapon. I want us in our situation. I don't want us to say that the phone is a weapon. I want to say that it's a tool or a
Yes, sir.
protective equipment that we need to use on a regular basis. They allow the media to use their cameras. And in that instance, he became the media. He became the news reporter on behalf of himself and his father. And the reason I say that we have to become the media when it comes down to us is because they're only attacking us.
Yes,
Uh,
sir.
and not to get away from the movie, just looking at again the death of George Floyd and the many
Yes.
others, but George Floyd in particular, how when cameras are being recorded, police want to flex their chests to make us stand back, to put fear in us. And that young
Yes, sir.
brother going to be fearful of recording what was happening to his father, like we wouldn't be afraid to record what was happening to our father, if not our wives, our daughters, or our sons. It's the right thing to
Yes, sir.
do. But the instance of us recording bothers them or irritates them, but they didn't do the same thing when they attacked the Capitol, when their own attacked the Capitol.
Yes,
Um,
sir.
that wasn't a protest. They wanted to call it a protest, but that wasn't a protest. That was an insurrection. That was a terrorism on the behalf of, I'm going to say, the devil attacking the devil. But when the righteous stand up, the righteous is always seen as a threat because truth is being invoked upon them and they can't avoid it. So that's the first thing I wanted to say is that that phone, it's not, it can be called a weapon, but really in our instance, it's a tool or what we want to
Yes.
call a protective piece of equipment. And them murdering and shooting that young brother in the back, all of them have all gotten a justifiable murder. They want to reduce it down to a manslaughter or second degree, but many of us have been in uh, smaller situations with just getting pulled over for a traffic ticket or what have you, and it's never escalated to the point to where it's escalating to now. And the question is why? Why has it escalated to the point to where black men are just being shot down as though we were back in slavery when the black man or woman was being hung?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I mean, a traffic stop, someone end up being murdered at a traffic stop. Now, the police officer, Michael Randall, he admitted when they had the trial inside the police station that he profiled the brothers, but it was so much blame put on the father. See, they want us to comply. It's always comply and do what they tell us to do. Now, you have young men I know that's younger than I am, and he want me to do what he says. I've been in the world probably 25, 30 years young, older than him, and he wants me to do what he say. And most of them will not approach me without their duty belt. They know they won't walk up to me and say nothing to me without their duty belt on, especially in a aggressive manner. Yet, like we spoke earlier today, now our ancestors speak to us, okay? In the spirit of our ancestors, we do certain things. Yet we have to be mindful that these wicked demons have ancestors also. and they do stuff in the spirit of their ancestors, their wicked ancestors. So we have to keep that in mind when we're dealing with our open and consistent enemy. It's in their very nature to murder. How did they establish this nation? Everything they locked us up for, they did to establish this nation. And they make excuses after excuse. They don't care if they kill your child. They don't see our children as children. When they write up our children in a newspaper, they say 18-year-old man. It's not a man. But when they write something up for a 30-year-old, they say that kid. Like the girl who stole the laptop.
Right.
I think it was Nancy Pelosi's laptop.
That's correct.
Mm-hmm.
She went home to her mother like she was a child, was a grown woman.
Right.
But we are never seen, our children are never seen as children. Tamir Rice wasn't seen as a child. Same, younger than the brother who was shot in the movie, right?
Yes, sir.
Tamir Rice.
Yes, indeed.
His brother in the movie was what, 14?
For 1 second. He was out the car 1 second.
Mm-hmm.
He jumped out and shot him.
Yeah.
Dispatch told him that it's likely it's a toy.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't do no investigation. Jumped out and shot the young brother. Now, as Brother Kahree said, Kajani Jefferson, the character in the movie, was shot in the back. Shot a child in the back. How egregious is that?
That he knew had a phone.
Yes, sir. Because he kept saying, stop recording, put the phone down. Not the gun. The phone.
Yeah.
He shot and murdered the little.
Again, I don't want to get away from the movie, but the enemy has always been against us from the beginning. The real, I'm going to say, let the real Jesus stand up, not the one they put before us. And
yes,
all
sir.
of, including Jesus, they came amongst them to teach them the truth. And whenever the truth came amongst them to teach them the truth, they killed the prophets of God.
Yeah.
We, black man and woman in the bowels of North America, are the descendants of all of those prophets. And you can take it or let it alone. We are the descendants of all of those prophets. But they took our wonderful brother Jesus and put him in the Christian faith, but he was really a Muslim. He came to Islam like all the prophets, but they put him in the Christian religion. And I don't want to knock the religion Christianity because my mother was a Christian. And she believed in what she believed in. And she had a good heart. My grandmother, my aunties. I don't want to knock it, but I want to knock the lie that was taught within that religion for us to believe in. But then you turned around and killed us. What do I mean by that? We have to remember this nation taught us Christianity, but our forefathers came here as Muslims. And if you say that you believe in Jesus, as you say, and I don't want to get religious here, I'm going to come right back to what we're talking about. We have to remember that the Ku Klux Klans are Christians. Is that right?
Yes, they are. Yes.
Aryan nations are Christians. Is that right? Skinheads are Christians. Is that right? So if they're Christians and they believe in the Christian religion, you have all these black folks practicing Christianity. Why have not they seen our mothers and our brothers and our sisters and our fathers as brothers in the same faith? And it's because of a skin color. So you have what they say, blue lives matter. But blue lives only matter when it comes down to them killing us or Black Lives Matter standing up. They don't talk Blue Lives Matter when whites are attacking whites. They don't talk that language when whites attack the Capitol, you know. But when it comes down to killing us, it's always, when you were speaking that, I had to write it down so I can remember it. The judge who's dressed in a black uniform.
Yes, sir.
And the jury is supposed to be a jury of our peers. It's never a jury of our peers. It's a jury of their peers. But they always come up with a justifiable murder.
Yes.
And we now we should have been stepped up to the plate. And there's many of us that's stepping up to the plate, but many of us can't step up to the plate for the whole if the whole won't step on the plate with us. If you go fight for a crowd that won't fight for themselves, your death has just taken place. Which one of them are going to stand up for you? So until we can speak the words and the volume into their ears about these unjustifiable murders, Black Lives Matter standing up, we're a part of the cause. Brother, I can go on and on. I'm trying to choose my words very carefully because I don't want to put us down, and I'm not putting us down. I want to pick us up. We have to begin, as the most honorable Elijah Muhammad said, picking ourselves up by our own bootstraps and policing our own communities. We have to begin putting our own schools, because now, even with this so-called, I'm going off task because there's so much in my head that I want to say behind that shooting, because those shootings, those deaths take place all the time in these so-called states of America.
Yes. Yes. Now, if you go to the part,
go ahead.
You go to the part Kajani was studying with his friend. It's a part in the where Kajani Jefferson was studying with his friend, and he was telling his friend that they had the right to defend themselves from attack from anybody, including the police. Myself and Brother Kahree spoke about that. You know, our people, we're always trying to exercise the rights of white people. We need to let those rights go and hold on to the right that is naturally ours, that no one can give to us or take away from us. Brother Kahree, what is that right, brother? Because you're the one who taught it to me. What is that right?
That is the right, brother, to defend ourselves. And until we understand that, until that sinks in, brother, because there is no rights that we have that this race soldier, that this hooded Klansman, that this judge, that this police officer, that this electrician that comes next door and puts your wires up, that this carpenter that you see inside your school system is bound to respect or obey when it comes to us. Those laws was never meant for us. They were meant to keep us in check, but it only applies and refers to them. Until we, as brother said, take back our communities, SOC, save our communities.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Soldiers on call.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
But we have to understand that, a little off topic, there's an economic pact that goes to this, because we got to be able to do and fend for ourselves and pool our resources that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad has taught us. But brother, until we understand that this beast, brother, has no intentions on ever respecting anything when it comes to us, we have to do it for ourselves, brother.
You know, as Brother Nasir was speaking the words, I started writing we are never to be the aggressors, but we have the right to defend ourselves in the name of Allah. I couldn't
Yes,
write,
sir.
Yes, sir.
write it fast enough. So, Brother
Sir.
Kahree, exactly right. We have that right to defend ourselves. So, what I seen in the previews, and I don't want to move forward before you announce that, Bro.Nasir, where brothers begin to stand up and take charge of their post.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Is when things began to, the reality got real. I'm going to say the reality got real where when they stood up and said enough is enough, that's when change began to take place. It's going to take a revolution. And the revolution,
Yes,
and
sir.
things will not be televised, but whether it's televised or whether it isn't televised, it's time for us to begin standing up because we've seen enough of this long enough.
Brother, what's what's understood doesn't have to be spoken.
Right. Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
You know, those who say don't know, and those who know
Don't say.
probably wouldn't say.
Right.
So, you know, the keys to that movie, as brother was pointing out as well, and I was peeping the same thing as well, is when he was talking to his cousin, and he was talking about his rights and stuff that he has. But his father told him, he said, "Look, man, get that out your head."
He advised them
He said,
against it.
get that out. He said, "Get that out your head."
Okay, I
He
didn't
said,
see that.
"Yeah, brother." He said, "You on point with everything you're saying. You understand the premise." He
Right.
said, "Get that out your head because when it comes," he said, "I just want to see you come home."
Yes, sir.
So he wants to see his son. We have to let them know how our young ones, we want them to respond to certain situations because we're looking for them to come home. See, but these young brothers ain't got no fear, brother. If they see an injustice taking place, they want to step to it and correct it right then and there.
Yes.
They don't have that fear, man, of our parents, of some of us, to where we want to acquiesce and kind of bow to certain things, man. Nah. Time out for all of that, man. See, this is a time now, man, to where now it's not art imitating life. Now life is starting to imitate the art that they've been showing. This is the hate
Yes, sir.
that they produced.
Yes.
They produced this. They caused this because by nature we're loving people. We
By
forgive,
nature, yes, sir.
forgive, get beat and keep on forgiving.
Yes,
Brother, it's like I'm looking at Without Sanctuary. I was talking with Nas, man, a while back ago. And as I was starting to do the series that I have to do again, man, that they said that this is a Caucasian person talking, saying that we have learned how to suffer poetically through dance, through song, through gestures.
You
We
can hear it,
suffer
brother.
poetically.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
But it's time out for that. We've been doing it for so long to where we try to find ways to cope with the injustices that's going on to us, and you hear it through our music. You hear it through our dance. You hear it through our art inside of the theaters and different places, man, and just trying to go along. Rodney King, brother, instance. Can we just get along? He getting beat damn near to death out there, brother.
Brother, what I don't like, brother, is when I hear that a brother has murdered another brother. Why do we show so much restraint when it comes to our open and consistent enemy, but we will murder each other in a heartbeat? What is it about white people that their lives are valued more than black people? What is it about them that keep up knocking their heads off when we need to?
Been taught to hate ourselves, brother.
You know,
That's not what I'm not understanding that part.
um,
When we're aggressed, we don't have it in us to defend ourselves against our enemy. Now, we strike back as so-called gang members. We strike back. What's wrong with us? Now, I'm not talking about being the aggressor, but if somebody aggress you violently, it's only one way to return aggression. He did, it's cause and effect. He did this cause, I did this cause, he did that.
Absolutely.
That's what they do.
Fair reaction
Why
is
is
an option of equal
brothers and
reaction.
yes, sir. Yes,
beloved,
sir.
we've been conditioned
Yes, sir.
from day one, from the day of our birth, even when we were part of my expression, even when we was in our daddy's sex. We've been
Mm.
conditioned because our fathers and mothers were conditioned.
Yes,
And
sir.
coming up in kindergarten or preschool through high school, you're being conditioned. Everything you're learning in school is of their wars, of their conquering, of their divide and conquering, things of that nature. And then by the time, as we're growing up, when if we could be teenagers or even, I would say, even a little bit younger, when the police show up on the block, everybody clears out. So we're being conditioned. When if we,
Yes.
our whether we live in the projects or whether we live in a neighborhood, we're standing on the corner chilling, whether it's drinking wine, whether it's smoking weed, I'm gonna keep it real. Whatever we
Yes, sir.
may be doing, even if it's playing ball at the basketball court, the police shows up. He's
Yeah.
showing up for a reason on his behalf, but we kind of scatter. So we've been conditioned. So now that we're being conditioned, we know they got the police, we know they got the army, we know they got the navy, they know they got the marines, they got the national guard. So, but then when it comes down to fighting one another, we fight one another because we know we ain't got no police behind us. We know we don't got no police for us. Oh, this project fighting against this project, this neighborhood fighting against this neighborhood. And then we have that old Willie Lynch syndrome, whether they say the Willie Lynch letter is not a proven fact. Well, hell, when you read that letter, there's so much
Yes, sir.
actual facts in there,
I'm
you
trying to
can't
tell you,
deny,
brother.
So
Well,
we've been
some of our
conditioned.
behavior.
Say it again.
Look at some of our behavior. To those who say that the Willie Lynch letter was fake, some
Right,
of them are proof that it's real
right.
through their
Yeah.
behavior.
It's
Yeah.
actual. Some of us want to call
Yeah.
Uncle Tom, but Uncle Tom wasn't that type of brother. Uncle Tom was helping out.
Exactly.
It
That's
was
right.
a field named Sambo that was
That's
causing
right.
ruckus.
Exactly. They
Yes,
want to
sir.
make Sambo. Oh, good teaching, brother.
So
Now,
so we
That's
got to
that
look
reverse
at
psychology.
in our community. There's some Harriet Tubmans in our community. There's some
yes, it
Uncle
is.
Tom in our community that's willing to help out. There's many that's willing to do it, but we've been so, the proper word I should have used was, we've been so indoctrinated into
Mm.
Better.
this, brother. It's hard to break away from it. And it seems like when we go to speak to, whether it's the youth or someone our age or someone older, and teach them the knowledge that we've gained, nigga, you ain't supposed to know that. So there's a saying, if you want to know the truth, go ask the white man. That's what we've been conditioned to believe.
Mm-mm-mm.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Now,
Well,
if you look at police departments, a lot of these police departments, like you seen in the movie, like we seen in the movie, a lot of these police department, they're rank and file. Well, at least they're on brass
Yes, sir.
or black. They're black people. If you look at Atlanta, chief police black. Look at a lot of these departments, and you look at a lot of these correction facilities. The entire correctional facility, the director in New Jersey is a black man. I find that problematic when you have a captain and a police chief who is black, and he has white race soldiers going around killing his own people, and he don't do anything about it. And the first thing they do when one of us is murdered, they send clergymen to our house. They send a black police chief, a captain, and somebody black to our house to try and quell the violence that they started. To tell the mother who just lost her son to go out and tell the people to stop the violence, when all her son's father was doing was taking him home.
Yeah. You when you deal with black commissioners, and I'm laughing, but it's not funny. When you deal with black captains and black police commissioners, and man, they just there for the job quota. That's it. They just there for the job quota. And if you
window
know,
dressing.
Say it again, beloved.
Window dressing.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. And they're not. And when the situation happens, it happened in the police department long before it happened on the street, because they deal with racism right inside the police department, right inside the courthouse, before the incident happens on the street. So when it comes inside the courthouse, the captain is forced. He's handcuffed. The judge, the black judge is handcuffed. Notice that all these situations where black individuals are dying, there's never a black officer at that scene. And even when black officers pull white folks over, they're so kind and compassionate with the white folks. You know, it's the white folks not compassionate with us. So Brother Kahree said it so eloquently. We have to remember that their mentality, I'm gonna say in a different way, Brother Kahree, please forgive me.
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
When we look at them, they're our bastard child. Yeah, I'm saying this on the air. But we're looking at the worst part of ourselves.
Absolutely.
Yes, sir.
We're looking at the opposite of us. That's why they never say there's five. Let me get my fingers in the camera. They don't say it's 5 Americas. They don't say it's 4 Americas. They don't say it's 3. They say it's 2 Americas, 1 black and 1 white. Why? So if they're saying it's 2 Americas, they acknowledge the difference. You had senators standing up in Congress when Joe Biden called them racist. You had them stand up and say that hey, my mother always said, if you toss a rock into a pack of dogs, the one that bark is the one that it hit.
Yes,
and
sir.
Joe Biden made that statement, and one of the senators started barking and said, hey, we're not racist. We just want to defend our country. We just found out you were part of the insurrection.
They're all racist.
No, this is not our system. This is their system. And if we were to even think about going inside there, we'd have to tear it all down, crumble it to the ground, and build it from the ground up without them.
But if anybody has the right to tear it down, it's those who actually built it on a literal point.
I think our brother King might have said it best. He said he feels as if though he's integrating his people into a burning house.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Better, brother.
Should we put the fire out or should we let it burn?
Add gasoline to it. See, because Brother Ibrahim, you hit right on the point, and you hit it exactly nail on, and that's what the messenger taught us. That's what Beloved teaches us. That's what we have seen and known to be an actual fact, brother.
Yes, sir.
We've known that to be actual fact. See, this warfare, man, is on many levels, man, and part of it is psychological too, as well.
Yes.
Yes.
And they always try to make their wrongdoing seem fair to us.
Fair
as if though it's right.
Right.
Deceptive intelligence.
Right.
Absolutely.
Make it seeming.
Yeah, yeah, and want to make you believe that, you did something wrong in order for me to, do the action that I did, act that I did, and that's not the case. And we're being politically correct in our speech, as we were taught.
Yes, sir.
We were taught to speak eloquently when we speak, and when we look at each other, we I remember the minister said, when you see your brother and your sister doing wrong, you can't look at it as they're wrong. You got to look at who taught them.
That's right.
And America has always been our teacher. So you want to call us niggas and Negroes, but you taught us how to do this devilishment. He said, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said that the black man can't be a devil, but he can be devil-like. So we're acting like the devil.
Yes,
We put on the costume and started acting like the devil until the three of us and those like us got knowledge of self and realized, oh, let me take off that costume and let me tighten up and put on the costume of self. And when we put on the costume of self, we began to see ourselves in the mirror and what we had to change. So how do we get our people to see that they are committing a wrong if they believe they're doing right? Because we can't predict, we can't get the devil to see that he's doing wrong, because the devil is being himself. I just made sense with that. The devil being who he's supposed to be. It's
absolutely
us that's acting out of character. So how do we change us? If we
have to teach our
right
that a man who won't treat you right will not teach you right. We have to get that in our people's head. What makes you think he gonna give you any tool that will free you? Not going to do that in any level, whether it's your mind or physical. He's not going to give you the necessary tools to free you.
Right.
That is, for one, no one's going to contribute to our salvation but us. Why? Because it's our salvation.
Right.
So if we look for some benevolent white man or woman to do that for us, we'll be looking for into eternity. What we need to do is get up off our backsides and do something about the condition.
I think we're looking for Joe.
Joe Biden's not going to do it. I'm sorry, black people. Yeah. Joe Biden is not, neither is Kamala Harris. They're not going to do it. We'll see you in 4 years.
Yeah, that's my, that's my sentiment. I see you in 4 years. I don't have much to say about it, but in 4 years we'll see. But
yes, sir.
Also, we have to be the change that we want to see.
Indeed.
And they say that what is the best religion? The best religion.
Do unto others.
Do unto others as you would want, and have them do unto you.
Yes, sir.
To want for your brother and your sister what you truly and really want for yourself.
Yes, sir.
And if we live by those principles and we start to exemplify that towards one another, and we carry that out into the street and we do the same.
Yes, sir.
Then we can kind of get that back. But we first have to make the start. Got to make a start.
Yes, sir. Because if you do harm to your brother or sister, you must want that for yourself. So
they say, why do we love the devil, brother? Because he gives us nothing.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
That's
actually. We love him because he gives us nothing, brother.
He gives us absolutely.
So when are we going to start loving ourselves? Because we know what they do and what they're capable of. They've been showing us every day. For over the past 400 and something odd years of brutal, intolerable, unfathomable, unthinkable punishment.
Right.
Yes,
over
sir.
the past 6,000 years, since they've been here, everywhere they went.
Yes, sir.
There's no place that they set foot and went to where they didn't cause the shedding of blood and mischief.
Nowhere.
And we haven't
Nowhere.
had our day in over the what? Past 50,000 years, brother.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So the pendulum is swinging back towards us. But the thing is, as you said earlier, brother Ibrahim, not to get religious about the thing, but when it gets back to us, what are we going to do? Are we going to do what they did to us? Or are we going to do what the duties of a civilized person is to do?
I believe those who are thinking righteously according to the teachings of the most honorable Elijah Muhammad and those like the honorable Elijah Muhammad will teach civilization to the uncivilized because that's our duty. But
Yes,
there's
sir.
other of us that, you know, I remember the minister said something regarding the movie called The Wiz, and I remember that part in The Wiz where Bro said, "Hang that sucker," you know. So we want to do right. We want to do right, but this man has done so much wrong. I watched a video the other day that someone sent me, and they said the video's been out for a while, and it's this, it's a she devil jumping up and down, calling these two individuals nigger. I mean, she's literally just nigger, 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 nigger. If the law didn't say that I go to jail, if I killed you, I would kill you all. Nigger, nigger, nigger. And they just kept filming her. So we have to understand that there are people in the world like that. Do we take on that attribute
No,
and say
sir.
cracker, hunky, or fake over and over again? If the law wouldn't stop me, I would kill you. That's not who we are. We are righteous people, and you can tell we're righteous people because, as y'all said earlier, brother Kahree, you said earlier that we're the righteous. There's been so much done to us that we have never thrown a stone unless it was in self-defense. And when it was in
Yes.
self-defense, they've never come at you individually. They always brought a team. They always brought a mob because they can't fight you or won't try to fight you individually. And I go back to those who love the Jesus. He didn't die for us. They put him on that cross. They put him on the cross and then gave you a damn cross to put around your neck as an insult to show you what they did to your brother. And you wear that around your neck, knowing what they did to your brother. He didn't get on that cross and die for you. They put him on the cross because of the truth that he spoke. And if we stand on square and we stand on truth, then our tongue becomes what? A two-edged sword.
Yes, sir.
A two-edged sword.
That's
So if they can't handle the two-edged sword, which is our tongue, then what makes them think if we really stood up and began to fight them with fire, what makes them think that they will win? Because that's when, look, the war of Armageddon, Public Enemy said in the past, been in effect. Go get a late pass. The war of Armageddon starts with the self. It starts with the mind. And until we clean ourselves up, we can't clean nobody else up because that other man, he ain't gonna clean himself up. He's who he is supposed to be. Do you expect anything good from the devil?
See, that's what I'm talking about. We have people among us who think that they can save who Allah condemned. We can't save who Allah condemned. If they're condemned people, we have to go accordingly. And two people and two things can't occupy the same space at the same time. That's their space. We try to have nearness and dearness to our open and consistent enemy. That is our mortal, natural enemy. So why do we want nearness to them? Why do we want to? I always say this, brother. Why are we constantly being like that mistreated dog? That, you know, you hit with a shoe, you don't feed, you kick every time you go past them. Why we want to be that dog that, okay, if somebody attack that, I'm gonna call it massa, that dog will attack the attacker of massa. We need to, again, brother, the name of the channel is The Enemy's Public. The reason why it's called The Enemy's Public, because our enemy is public, out in the open, chest out, overtly racist. That's our enemy. And we can't act like this is not our enemy. I'm not saying go out and bust people out there. I'm saying, brother, organize, strategize, and deputize. That's what our general taught us. General Abdul Kareem Muhammad taught us organize, strategize, deputize. It's better to be ready than to get ready. Because our enemy trains. You see them white boys climbing that wall, right? How many of us can scale that wall at the Capitol building?
Yes,
I'm
sir.
in.
Yes, sir.
They scaled that wall, brother. They climbed that wall. Though they would have shot us off it. I know I can do it. I know who I'm among can do it. But how many of us as a people can scale that wall?
You know, I recall
Not many.
The first Million Man March, when we was standing out there on the mall, up around the Capitol. You had men in black around the dome of the Capitol. Yeah, they may have shut Washington, D.C. down that day, but they were armed to the gill because they didn't know how a million or more black men were going to act. But it was the most peaceful day in the history of this nation when you had all black men. There were no women, there were no children, it was all black men. But where I'm going is they had men in black standing around the dome of the Capitol just in case. And I'm certain they weren't just standing around the dome of the Capitol. And if that be the case, and they were prepared that day for a million black men, yeah, they climbed the walls to the Capitol. They broke the windows to the Capitol. They went in, and we watched as they're saying one of the black officers that was running was leading them away from where the concession was taking place, but he never pulled his. You had two armed secret servicemen standing on the other side, holding on the point. But the gun, the door was barricaded, but they're holding their guns at the door with people pounding to get in, and they never fired a shot. If that was black lives, I don't even have to say anymore. So it's showing you their privilege. And then when the news hit, you just mentioned the young lady stole Nancy Pelosi's laptop and was trying to sell it to the Russians. She's home with her mother.
Yes, sir.
You know, not Ahmaud Arbery.
And not only that, beloved, as far as
yeah, doctors,
you know, what you just about.
Doctors there, lawyers was there, police officers was there, fire was there, senators was there.
Yeah.
They were some of the police officers were letting them inside the Capitol. So this is them attacking their Capitol.
Absolutely.
This is why I'm happy.
Exceedingly glad, brother.
I forget the mayor's name. But she said, "Black people, this ain't your fight. Stay home."
That's right.
So I'm glad the mayor of DC told the blacks to stay home. This ain't your fight. And whether she did that consciously or unconsciously, she said the right thing. This is not your fight. This is their fight. See, that
Satan
Constitution is all
casting
for
out
them.
Satan. Not only that, brother, the police showed us with their own that they do have restraint.
Yes.
They do have restraint, but not, it's just not with us. They can restrain themselves because if it was ever a time to open fire, that was then.
Mm-hmm.
But they exercise restraint their own. They brought bombs to the Capitol building, brother. Bombs. When we went to the Million Man March, brother, we brought no weapons. If you put those two situations side by side, which one would you pick to be at?
The Million Man March.
The Million Man, of course, the Million Man March. But if you compare the two, you got 2 million civilized brothers on the mall, not one incident of violence the whole entire time we were there. These people went there to do violence. That was their sole purpose, to be there.
Right. You know, some of
To comply.
Some of Trump's followers were calling him the second coming of Jesus in the form of the president.
Yeah.
I don't know if
They
heard
make
he said that, right? So yeah, brother Kahree, that sigh just made me laugh. So
Yes, sir.
so if they're looking at Mr. Trump as the second coming of Jesus, as that's their Jesus.
Yeah.
That's the Antichrist to us, but that's their Jesus. And we haven't heard anything other than pardon his daughter, pardon his son, pardon. Look, even Giuliani, you know, and I don't want us to get away from One Night in Miami, but understand.
We're gonna go there, brother. We're going there, brother.
Yeah,
we're going there.
Understand this. One Night in Miami was dealing with an incident of a vehicle being pulled over and the police officers being given a pardon for a justifiable murder. When the father decided to stand up and fight back, I didn't see the movie yet, but I'm going to watch it.
It's American Skin.
One
Night in Miami.
Yeah.
American Skin. One Night in Miami, something different. I watched that one, but American Skin. So American Skin is a great title. Because
yes, sir.
The American black skin, it didn't say American white skin, but you're looking at, as I just said, there's two Americas, one black and one white. This is not, according to this system, this is not this Constitution was not written for us. It was written against us. In fact, the Constitution wasn't even written for white women.
Bro, we weren't even in mind when they wrote this Constitution, brother.
Right. And that's why women started fighting for women's rights. Now,
that's right.
If you take a look at it, every time blacks stood up for something in the civil rights and it became something that was prevalent, those white organizations attached themselves to it and then took over.
Yeah.
Yes,
like
sir.
They just did Black Lives Matter.
If you take every time we get some type of traction and we're moving, they will send somebody in to slow us down. Now, if you take the feminist movement, who benefited from the feminist movement? Black women ended up despising and hating us. White women got all the rights. They attached themselves to our sister, saying men ain't this, men ain't that, but we don't have a history of mistreating our women like that.
No.
It's white men mistreat their women like that, but they formed a camaraderie with our sisters, and the sister act, just like Kamala Harris was doing, pandering, going around pandering, and to our brothers and our sisters, and some of us bought it hook, line, and sinker. We need to understand that when we are organizing, strategizing, and deputizing, and when one of them come to us asking, can they help? You tell them, yes, you can help. Just leave us alone. That's how you can help. Leave us alone. Let us do for ourselves. You always talk about us pulling ourselves by our bootstraps. And when we do, what's the results of that? When we built Tulsa, Oklahoma, Rosewood, and other places where we were minding our own business, what did they do? They looted our areas, burned it down, and murdered people. So how could we be referred to as animals when we were able to do that less than 100 years out of slavery? We was able to build all that, and they burned it to the ground because they were jealous, and they felt that we wasn't entitled to have what we work hard for. They don't want you to have what you work hard for. They feel that they're entitled for what you work for. Again, our enemy have ancestors, and their ancestors speak to them too.
That's actual fact.
When we say umkulu, when we say that our ancestors are speaking to us, when we talk about the spirit of Ogun, they have the spirit of Satan in them.
Again, it's the mindset that we've been indoctrinated into, to where everything white is right. But at the same time, with all the cameras and media and the news around, and when I say cameras, I'm talking about the cell phones now, not so much the media. The cell phones are recording everything to a point now to where a lot of things are being exposed more so than ever. Just in Ohio, just around December, just before the new year, there was a brother just coming out of the store with his Subway sandwich, and the police pulled up on him. They were looking for someone else, but he turned around with his, and they shot him dead. And
yeah, I heard.
And with that story, there was another brother that came to a prestigious neighborhood. He had a white friend that lived in that neighborhood that they went to college together. And he went there to pick him up, and he was sitting in his car to wait for him to come out. And one of the neighbors called the police department on him. And the police department walked up, and they even asked questions. They just opened fire. And when his buddy came out and said, "Hey, why'd you kill him?" He was parked here too long, according to a neighbor. But you never asked a question. So these things are going on in this United States of America. Go ahead, brother Nasir. I can remember what I'm going to say.
Yeah, but in Jefferson County, Florida, the police felt that he can park in a sister's driveway. And when she asked him to move, he arrested her, threw her down to the ground, and broke her teeth. And they charged her with assault on the cop. The sister was like 5 feet tall, 115, 120 pounds, the most. And when she asked them to leave her driveway, they assaulted her and arrested her. They knew who she was. The sister does films on anti police violence and profiling. She does films like that, and they did that to set her up. So you're gonna tell me that a black man can't park in his friend's driveway, he gets murdered, but the cop can go park in the sister's driveway and end up arresting her because she told him to leave?
Again,
what we're up against, brother.
um, we have many black officers on the police departments, and they have to begin speaking up. They have to begin standing up inside the police departments against those officers, as we just spoke about those chief of police and those commissioners. Um, they have to begin speaking up. They can't be silent anymore. Brother Kahree, you mentioned, they acquiesce. If you don't say anything, you acquiesce. That means you're okay with it. That's like receiving a letter in the mail saying, "Hey, I'm suing you for $5,000," and you don't respond. Then you acquiesce to having to pay the $5,000. So until
Yes, sir.
those individuals in the police department start standing up, and even those white folks that are sympathizers for blacks, until you begin speaking to your brother, then you acquiesce as well. You're a part of the problem. If you know the problem and you don't begin speaking to your brothers and sisters that have that mindset, you're a part of the problem. And those blacks that's in the police department, whether they be police officers, commissioners, judges, lawyers, until you guys begin speaking up and fight for what's right, it means nothing. But again, Brother Kahree, again, Brother Nasir,
Sympathy
you
is
said all is for them.
I'm saying sympathy and empathy is two different things. Sympathy is just you're sorry that it happened. Empathy is when you do something about what happened.
Yes, sir.
Right.
Not just walking past and shaking your head about the condition of a people and keeping it moving. That's most cases when it comes to others. To me, my sentiment is I'm not looking for nobody to do nothing about our condition but us.
That's it.
Nobody.
Us, us, brother, in the collective energy and spirits that we have, brother, because we all know who creates snow, hell, rain, earthquakes. And we have that force, man, that's within us, man. And when our minds collectively get together and that energy gets together, brother, it moves mountains. But
Yes.
also with that, brother, when they start coming back, as Beloved once told us, brother, in flag draped coffins, brother, then they will want to negotiate and sit down to the table and talk.
Right.
Yes.
When we start doing and exacting the same amount of pressure that they place on us,
Right.
when it starts coming back to them, the same way to when we burying one of ours, they're burying one of theirs.
Right.
And all of this has changed. Then they'll want to sit down and talk.
Yeah, the saying is, do unto others as you would have them do unto
Oh,
you.
yes, sir.
You want done to you what you're doing to us.
It said, just like they got a perfect hate for me and for us, I share the same sentiment towards them, brother.
Yes.
Because if you don't hate me like that, and I've done nothing to you,
right?
Yes, sir.
But
I'm justified, brother.
Yes, sir.
And hate you just as much as you hate me.
Yes, indeed.
And you hate with a perfect hate.
Yes.
An absolute perfect hate.
Yes, sir.
It's only righteous. The saying is you got to love one or the other. You can't straddle the fence.
No, sir, brother.
So when you look at your enemy, he can't be your friend too.
Look.
He can't be, you could communicate with him, as the minister said. You can negotiate, do business with him, but you better know he's your enemy.
You better believe it, brother. Look.
How backwards is that?
By now, somebody better, put some truth serum in your coffee or your tea to make you realize who he is, because when he shows you who he is, believe him.
That's it, brother.
Yes, sir.
when he shows you,
Well,
and he's been showing us for a long time who he is. And
yes, sir.
look, I go back to this George Floyd because his death vibrated around the world.
yes, sir.
Don't tell me everybody has gone back to sleep that damn fast.
No, sir, brother.
He showed you who he was on national television by putting a knee on your brother's neck. A grown man cried out for his mother.
Yes, sir.
And showed you who he is. And then when please forgive me for not knowing the names of these officers, but
I know
when
Derek
they
Chauvin was one
Chauvin.
okay, when
yes,
they
sir.
locked Officer
Derek
Chauvin up,
Chauvin.
they took the brothers from that tier and said, we don't want you to be on this tier. We're going to put some white officers up there with them. So like I said, when you recognize the racism, the brothers inside have to begin speaking up, or they acquiesce, or it's justifiable because they said so. And on the add insult to injury, I believe the commissioner was a brother, right? So how could he, the brother who's the commissioner of Milwaukee, let the warden take the brothers off the tier where they put Officer Chauvin and put white security guards there, or guards there, or COs? Come on, man.
Yes, sir.
You gotta start speaking.
But we have to keep in mind of where that's at though, because if you deal with Wisconsin, Milwaukee, and all that, we have to keep in mind of that whole entire area because David Clark, come on, brother. I think in the damn water out there. David Clark, the sheriff of Milwaukee.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So we have they breeding a different type of black man.
Yeah, you talking about that camouflage. That camouflage.
Yeah, the one who walked around wearing the fake insignias. He was wearing the fake insignia. He was wearing German insignias and cowboy hats. Got the lily white wife. Vacations in Ireland. What black man wants to go to Ireland? Couldn't give me a trip to Ireland.
Want to go to Ireland and sit in the pub?
Sleep with the sheep.
Yes, sir.
All right, brother. You know what? I digress, brother. I'm gonna back up a little bit.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
But brother Ibrahim, those brothers, they do acquiesce, but it's like,
yes, sir.
It's like capitulation. They give up. They wave the flag, brother. That's what they do. Those who are in there, those helpless brother who are running the department, and these things are still happening to our people while they have black police chiefs, black commissioners, black commanders all together. These brothers are weak. And I say brothers with quotes. They're weak. And they're only, as Brother Kahree said, window dressing. Yeah. That's all they are. You can get on the subway with them. You can get on the subway with them because they're tokens.
Yeah. Yeah. They've been selected, man, and been watched over a time and been brought through the system. And they know that they can use them, man, in these positions, and that they'll do exactly what it is that they want them to do.
Willie Lynch, in his letter, indicated that to the overseers and the slave owners, or the so-called power to be, and notice I said the so-called power to be, that to be careful because they can get their knowledge back. And there are some that when they see that, they get a trickling of their knowledge back and they want to stand up and fight. But when you don't have the other officers inside with you, standing up, and you become a target against your own so-called men in blue. So they can speak and say blue lives matter, but when the black officer in blue stands up or the white officer in blue stands up, they mysteriously die on the job.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
And
sir.
to serve and protect is to serve and protect them, to serve and protect their way of life. It's always been coming to black neighborhood and Billy Club them before you even ask a question. Ask questions later. You know, beat them down, get them in here and beat them up first. Then we're going to ask questions and get them to say what we want them to say, not what they want to say. So until we can have our own schools, our own police departments, our own hospitals, as our brother, please forgive me for going to the far right again. I won't say the left because the left ain't, I want to go to the right. I want to stay on the righteous side. Our brother Muammar Gaddafi was ready to give the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan a bundle of money to build our own
Yes,
black
sir.
schools, own hospitals, and blah, blah, blah. And what did America say? We got sanctions. We got sanctions. If you take that money, and you know, so when we are able to pull our own resources, how many blacks are there in America? You don't got to say. If every
Yes,
one of
sir.
us raised $1, brother, we have everything we
Yes.
want overnight.
Yes, sir.
The problem is Willie Lynch taught us not to trust each other. So the trust issue is there. And I say the person that's most highly qualified to handle the trust level of those funds is our beloved brother, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. He's
That's a
been doing
fact.
it so
I want
far. We can lift ourselves up by our bootstraps overnight.
Yes,
But Willie
sir.
Lynch, they taught very well to get them to distrust each other and to believe
And
and trust
always
in
be
own.
suspicious of each other. They taught
And
us
that's
that.
what.
Yeah. And
So
especially those, man, that's on the high level too, that we see. They're so distrusting of each other, bro. To
by the way,
where
Yes,
they
sir.
even,
I want y'all to know this isn't beer.
bro, you know, you got
Come,
some cider there, brother.
it's, it's just some ginger
So
ale,
our brother,
brother.
Yes, sir. Yes,
the
sir.
lager.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir. I don't want y'all to think I'm over here going Mary, Mary.
No, sir, brother.
But
No, sir.
no, American
Yeah.
Skin, what I seen in that, man, in that preview, our own black people fear that.
Mm-hmm.
We fear each other,
Yes,
but
sir.
we'll hide each other. We fear them and we'll hide. We won't fight for ourselves, man, brother, until we're able to understand the spirituality is something that we absolutely need. But until you see the truth that's laying right before your face, and when I say you, I'm not talking about us and you. Until you see the truth that's happening right before your face, you'll never come out of this condition. You can't tell me that the world, look, the world stood up and began to fight with this George. I'm going back to George Floyd because that was the biggest event that we've seen in a
In a long
long
time.
time where we stood up.
In a long time.
You can't tell me you went back to sleep that fast, or was it just, or did you just go out there to march and protest just to march and protest, or were you really out there for change?
Somewhere out there for change.
See,
That genuine
it's a,
change.
see, yeah, that too, you know, but these are chronological events, man, that have been taking place and that have been happening in an order that's bringing us to this day that actually brought us to this insurrection. it brought us right up to this point. See, because
Yes, sir.
people were, the reason this insurrection is taking place is because they feel as if though their country or their power grip is starting to slip
Not starting.
away.
It's
No, it's
slipping.
happening.
Yeah.
But this is, they're recognizing and seeing it, so they feel that they needed to do something about it to try to gain control back of it because they're losing it. This is truly
Yes,
right
sir.
now, brother, scripturally speaking, man, Satan is casting Satan out.
The unraveling.
Look, Trump, as we
Bloody.
talked about it before, me and brother Nasir talked about it on many occasions, that, you know, you put an ET on the end of Trump and you get a what?
Trumpet.
Trumpet.
Sir.
He's blowing that horn, brother. And he is the actual thought of what majority of what the American people believe and think.
Right.
And it showed you when it came down to the popular vote with this election, just how true that is.
Yeah.
Because 78 million voted for him and 88 voted in the other direction. So that's a split right down the middle.
Right.
It's a split
A lot
right
of people
down the
think
middle.
like
That
Right.
it's majority of those that think like he do. See, but Trump is that type of individual that'll smack you dead in your face and let you know he's smacking you in the face. Where our other ones will stab you in the back and you might not see it coming. But they both the
yes,
same
sir.
people. Ain't nothing different about either one of them, about either
Yes,
one of
sir.
these parties. It's just one is in your face and the other one to do it behind your back.
Yes, sir.
But there's those that's outright that'll show you exactly what they feel and they wear it on their sleeve. And this is who he is. This is
Yes,
what
sir.
half of those are.
Many of them.
Let me,
Go
Donald
ahead.
Trump.
Go
Donald
ahead.
Trump will lie about everything that he and his constituents do, but he'll tell you the sure enough truth about what everybody else is doing. He'll tell you the truth about somebody else, what somebody else is doing, but he lies about what he's doing.
You know,
That's the thing with
they
I
brought
didn't
him.
do it. I didn't rig this. I didn't do this. I didn't do that. But he'll tell you what Joe Biden has done and what other people has done. But I don't, I don't subscribe to no party, jackass or elephant. I don't subscribe to none of them because they're two wings on the same unclean and hateful bird. So whether it's
Voting for the less evil.
Democrat or Republican rather, I don't subscribe to none of it. I'm not a part of committing crimes against my people. When you call yourself going out there and voting in a politician, you are committing a crime against your people, especially on that level. That's a crime.
Brother, repeat
Because
what you just said. Froze up on us. Repeat what you just said.
when you go out and you vote for a politician, you are committing a crime against your people on that level. Because these people ignore you for 4 years. You're not going to see them coming around to us and talking to us or to them until it's time for like the third year of the term. They'll come back around because they want to get reelected. And then they'll start talking to us, rallying the people up. And our people fall for it every time. We fall for it every time. It's like getting hit with the same jab. You don't see that jab coming. You can't slip that and counter it.
You know, God rest his soul, my father-in-law, when I told him that I don't vote, he got upset with me because I said that I don't vote. when I told them that, I know that my vote deals with the popular vote, but it's the electoral colleges that make the decision on who the president going to be. Now, the electoral colleges, as everybody just recently found out, which we already knew, they are supposed to vote according to the popular vote for the president that's in there, but they can swing the vote and vote who they want to be in office. And that's been going on all this time. So what happened
Yes,
this
sir.
time? Mr. Trump won the presidential election 4 years ago based on a lie, based on what the electoral colleges wanted, not what the popular vote said. So now that
He
he
lost
knows,
the same.
well, now that he knows the truth on how he got in the seat, he couldn't handle that heat this time around that Joe Biden won like he won.
Yes, sir.
So
Yes, sir.
he decided he wanted to tell, that it was rigged. We want to recount the
Yes,
votes, and
like a child of a.
hey, we want to march down the Capitol and we're going to do this and we're going to do that. Now, here's the kicker. Our brother O.J. Simpson, these weren't my words, these was his words last week. He said, it's funny. I know nobody really wants to hear from me, but it's just an observation of mine, O.J. Simpson. He said, whenever the civil rights was taking place and we were fighting Jim Crow, Martin Luther King, Reverend Jesse Jackson, they were always out there in the front marching with the people. When Trump and Trump Jr. was talking about marching, where was they when the marchers marched on the Capitol? He said our leader was up front marching with the people, but they were not there. And I thought he made a good observation of that. So here, Trump and his Trump Jr., if they only played it on the news temporarily. I was privileged to get a hold of the video, and I want to make sure I get it to you guys, where he's hanging out in the tent with his son, his daughter, and his crew, and they drinking and playing party music and talking about they haven't seen nothing yet. But they didn't play that on CNN. They didn't play that on Fox 5. They didn't play that on any news media that he was hanging out in the tent while they were attacking the Capitol. But somehow your brother got the video.
I could believe that because Donald Trump is a coward.
Both of y'all tonight. Yes, sir. I want
Donald Trump is a coward.
Another video of a five panelists where they're talking about how Bill and Melinda Gates, they want to go into Africa and give Africa this so-called antidote or this serum or this vaccine or this vaccination, whatever name you want to call it, is poison. If our people have not learned from smallpox, from polio, from the 100 brother, say it again.
Tuskegee experiment.
Oh, brother, just say it one more time.
Tuskegee experiment.
Brother, if they haven't learned from that, what the hell are you going to learn from? We got to understand, look, Bill and Melinda Gates said, yeah, we want to give it to the doctors and the nurses because they're the ones on the forefront of all of this. So I just don't want to speak about that. Look, we're talking about American skin, right? And how the police officer shot the brother down. Well, they're shooting us down in another area called the health field. All right. So now they want to take us out with this vaccination. So you're gunning us down, and you can't do that fast enough without the world seeing your BS. And I ain't talking about a Bachelor of Science degree. So now the best way to take them out is in health. So they might not have it now, But hey, if you're on welfare, pretty soon you can get it, but you can't keep getting it unless you and your children get vaccinated. You're on Section 8, hey, you keep getting it, but can't keep getting it unless you and your children get vaccinated. They're going to find a way. You can go to school, but you can't get in the school system if you're not vaccinated. Right now, they're saying it's not the law. But Joe Biden, how in the world, let me rephrase that. How in the hell do he think he's going to vaccinate 100 million Americans in 100 days when most are saying no? They're trying to make it mandatory.
They're even offering weed to people if they take the shot.
They're offering a stimulus.
They're offering weed.
And one point they're offering a stimulus check, and the other offer they're offering you to be stimulated. Is that what you're saying?
That's what I'm saying, brother. Exactly what I'm saying.
The devil was cunning, brother.
Yes, sir. Speaking of cunning, let's get into One Night in Miami. Now, we all seen that movie, right?
Yes, sir.
It's a movie about Jim Brown, Muhammad Ali, Sam Cooke, and Malcolm X. I got through it, but during the introduction, I almost turned it off because not even past the introduction, they were defaming the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad and the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. During the introduction, they showed Muhammad Ali in Wembley Stadium. They showed Sam Cooke doing what he do. They showed Jim Brown when Jim Brown went to the white man's house, who he thought was a friend. Okay, talked to him, offer him tea, and talking to him about how great he was, and then he was going to move some furniture, and he asked him, could he help him move the furniture? He said, "You know, we don't allow niggas in the house."
Yes, sir.
Sat there all the time, and said, "You know, we don't allow niggas in the house." But then you know, fast forward to when they showed Malcolm X, the very first thing they thought to do was mention Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, calling him misguided and stupid because he's not seeing the wrongdoings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad yet. Almost turned it off. I said, let me get through this, though, because I'm sure I'm going to talk about it with my brothers. So let me get through this movie. Brother Kahree?
Go ahead, brother.
Yeah, I mean, the very first line before anything even comes on in the narration or anything whatsoever, inspired by true events.
Yes, sir.
Was a lie right from the gate because it tells you that it's a fictional story and that it was done and based upon a screenplay. So they already trying to create a narrative right out the gate. And what it is that they want the people to see and what they want the people to believe. So as soon as I seen it, I'm like, okay, you can already see where they're getting ready to go already in the whole movie, the premise, before they even get started.
Yes, sir.
And then get to the point where you were talking about. And especially in this time right now, because the minister is definitely against this vaccination. See, all this timing is everything when you look at these, when they present these movies. Because I can remember the minister saying in an interview that he did on a New Year's Day years ago that they wanted to see him, that a brother by the name of Brock Peters that used to do movies years ago with Harry
Yes.
Belafonte, with Dorothy Dandridge, different actors back then, Sammy Davis Jr., in the movies that they used to do, which was pretty much like black exploitation movies, but they was singing and lip syncing to white opera singers and white balladeers that was singing opera, but they were playing the parts and the roles because they wanted us to go see the movies. So, but Brock Peters was doing a movie, and the minister happened to be in the area during it some of the times, you know, because they knew that he was a calypso singer at one point, that he did plays, and he was of the theater, and he was of the arts, and he was in, you know, somewhat show business. But it was a
Screenwriter also.
Jewish, right? It was a Jewish producer that said he would like to meet him. And he, you know, Brock went to him because the minister was friends with Brock Peters. So
Yes, sir.
Brock Peters came to the minister and said, come on, come see him, you know, come check him out. He wants to talk to you. And when he got to him, what he expressed to the minister was, I'm paraphrasing now, what he expressed to the minister was, it wasn't that he didn't like him. He thought he was a good person, a great person, but it was the idea that he represented, that he wasn't in awe of, or that he liked. He said it was his idea, the idea of what the messenger's program was and what the minister's program was into freedom, justice, and equality for the black man and woman in the hills and bounds of North America, and letting them know who we knew who they were. So he said, you know, what we do is when we feel that the society or the public is going in a direction in which we don't think that they should be going in, what we do is we sit down with our producers, magazine authors, editors,
Yes, sir.
media outlets, and we get with them and we create the narrative in which we want the public to go in. And it's something that they're doing right now today with their propaganda machines, with their media machines, with their music industry, with the movies, with Hollywood. They want us to go in a certain direction, and how they get us to go in that certain direction is that you start seeing movies and you start seeing songs that's being produced that all start to sound the same. Anything that's demeaning and degrading, the type of movies that we get into where you see black and white together, to where you see integration together, anything that they want to make happen, they put that in the line of the books. They put that in the line of the movie, the media, and all of that. And this is what the start gets us going down in this direction. So this is what they do. Sir. And as you can see, with this movie being in, now that the minister has came out and said, look, we're not taking a vaccination. We're going to go to our own epidemiologists and go to our own doctors, and we'll come up with something for ourselves, because they have shown us and proven to us over the years that they are untrustworthy for us to be allowing them to administer or to doctor us when we're talking about pandemics and epidemics and things that's coming along, to just go behind them and let them do things just because their doctors are saying everything is okay. When we know that trial periods for vaccination takes 10 to 15 years in study, case study, to even show whether or not these things are even accurate, even working for us to take them. Now, all of a sudden, you're going to make something turn around in 160 days, 90 days, and you're going to start mass producing vaccinations for us to get them. So now we conveniently bring out a movie like A Night in Miami. And the first couple of lines starts dealing with our beloved brother minister as he's stupid or something.
Yes, sir.
or that the teaching that we got or that we're getting is something that's not feasible for our people to listen to and adhere to, and it's not the voice of God in our ear telling us to go along on the right path and do things that's better for us as a people, and hasn't been misguided or hasn't guided us wrong yet. And now here it is, they want to try to make it seem and appear as if though our beloved minister don't know what he's talking about by interjecting some little small little thing in the movie to plant the seed.
Yes, sir.
Of hatred to constantly build up, because ain't nobody in this movie living except for Jim Brown.
That's it.
All the characters in the
That's it.
movie had passed away. Sam Cooke, Muhammad
Yes, sir.
Ali, Betty Shabazz, Malcolm X. And then when you get all of this talking things that's going on,
Did you
they
notice,
try
beloved,
to
that
make us believe that.
they had a Kareem in the movie, brother?
Yeah, they had a Kareem in there.
Security, but,
Movie.
you know,
That is security guard,
yeah,
an undisciplined soldier on the doorpost.
very undisciplined.
Did you see that part, brother? That undisciplined
he
on
just
the door.
joined for protection. That's all he joined. Because he even stated the reason he joined was because he wished it was around. They asked him if he had any regrets. Oh, I regret not getting involved longer because somebody named Ronald chased me around and, you know,
getting involved earlier. Yeah, yeah.
So he was just joining for protection. That's it.
Good observation.
He wasn't joining,
I remember.
you know, nothing more.
Yeah.
But in that, you know, as I watched that tonight, and I appreciate you guys putting me down on it, beloved. Yeah, I caught that early on, and they made Malcolm to appear as though he was frightened, as he was scared.
Yes, sir. Yes,
he was
sir.
punctified. That's not the Malcolm we know.
Right.
That's not the Malcolm.
Yes, sir.
No, that's not the Big Red we know.
Yes.
They made Sam Cooke appear to be just a straight out nigger.
Yes, sir.
I'm just gonna straight out say it, man.
Yes, sir.
They made Jim Brown to be some straight out nigger, like he wasn't the Jim Brown that fought with civil rights with Martin Luther King and the rest of the brothers, you know.
That's right.
They made Ali, if you go back and Google Ali on YouTube anywhere, he always beating them down. He always standing up for black man and woman. So when you look at that movie, the whole damn movie from the beginning to the end is a damn lie. Maybe when Sam was standing on stage and performing and Jackie Wilson, maybe that was real. Because, you know, the white man liked to see us entertain him.
The chronology was wrong, though, brother. The whole entitled chronology was wrong. The time and sequences of the events was wrong. They did everything wrong in that movie. What I can't understand is how they gonna have Malcolm walking slumped over, Malcolm being a weak, meek Negro, which he was not, and a undisciplined FOI on the door who goes inside for about 5-10 minutes off the door. Off the door. We don't do that. And asking for an autograph. Asking for an autograph. Brother, we don't do that like they did Godfather of Harlem. They had FOI walking with their hands in their pocket, wearing suits 3 sizes bigger. Did you see Godfather of Harlem, Brother Ibrahim?
I have not.
Watch that movie. It's about Bumpy Johnson, the relationship between Bumpy Johnson and Malcolm X. They had, which was crazy, they had Clifton Davis playing the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. And the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad was taller than Malcolm in the movie.
Okay.
Malcolm X was 6'3". 6'3". And how tall was the messenger, brother Kahree?
5'7", 5'7", 5'8".
Um,
They had the messenger taller than Malcolm, and they had Malcolm walking FOI, walking with their hands in their pocket.
I want to say this. When you're trying to establish yourself in Hollywood, because they believe it's holy, we know it's Hollywood, but you got to do what
Beloved,
and Regina
beloved, can I
King
stop
is
you
new.
there real quick? Can you hold that thought real quick?
Yes.
The reason why they call it Hollywood, they took Hollywood from Merlin the Magician. Merlin the Magician magic wand was made out of Hollywood.
Okay.
And Hollywood is known for its ability to give you fantasy and manipulate your mind.
Right.
That's why Hollywood is called Hollywood.
Yes. Yes. Thank you for that, beloved, because I didn't know that.
Yes. Yes, sir.
And you know, I got to take notes so I can remember where that came from. But going there, Regina King is a new director.
Right.
And she wants to get herself established. And it seems like any new director that wants to get established, these are the things that they have to do to get there. And it seems like whenever they want new directors to come along, they always seem like they want to get them to go against the nation or the Muslims or blacks in general within this country to make us look like clowns and buffoons. And like I said, I said, why they got Malcolm? I mean, y'all just put me down the movie today, and I'm sitting here watching. I'm like, why they make Malcolm look so fearless and like he's scared and, you know, punctified? That wasn't Malcolm. Why they got
it was Barack Obama. It was Barack Obama, actually.
Why they got
he reminded me more of Barack Obama.
You know, why they got Sam acting like this nigga? You know?
Yes, sir.
You know, if I recall, Jim Brown, he was at the Playboy Mansion, and Raquel Welch came up on him and tried to push up on him. He kept denying her and telling her no. And she kept coming up on him. And finally, he picked her up from the balcony of the second floor and tossed her into the pool and shot her as she was shot at her as she was going down, saying, I don't fuck with white women. So how they got him in the movie? How they got him in the movie saying he like no white women?
And in the movie, I like white women.
Right. So who got Regina King to put these lines in the... See, I want to look behind her now. Even though she's directing the movie, who is the one directing her? Because she didn't write this.
Look at the executive.
It's a play by Kemp Powers, bro.
Say it again.
It's the screen.
Look at the executive.
It was a gentleman by the name of Kemp Powers.
And then
who did the
what I'm saying, beloved, what I'm saying is when you want to know who is the puppeteer, you look at the executive producer. That's the one who put the money up. That's what Harvey Weinstein was, a executive producer. Nothing moves as far as production without the executive producer.
Well, let me tell you,
the writers and directors work hand in hand, but they cannot move without an executive producer. They got to have that money first.
As I looked at this, brother, I almost wanted to turn it off right away, and I'm letting my two brothers know that I continue watching it because I knew that y'all wanted me to watch it, but it was hard to swallow, man.
Yes,
It was
sir.
a hard pill to swallow, knowing the truth of what we know.
Right.
Yes.
And if you one thing I realized as I was watching this, I said, you know, the devil is always working,
Better believe it, brother.
always using our people to put us down, but
Yes.
he's the hidden hand behind them. And I said, Regina King, how could you allow them to let you make this type of movie without even, because I know damn well she didn't go to Betty Shabazz family, because she even made Betty Shabazz look like a tyrant toward Elijah Muhammad. She made Betty Shabazz look like a tyrant towards the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, and made Malcolm seem weak.
Yes,
toward,
sir.
you know what I mean? Just,
Brother, it's something else that I observed. What mother tells her daughter to get off the phone with her father? Her father's away and calls home and speaking to, I don't know which one it was, Atala. What was it, Atala?
I forget.
That he was speaking to on the phone.
Yeah, it was
And
Atala.
she came out and told her to get off the phone, and she said, I'm speaking to daddy. And she told her again to get off the phone with her father. What mother? And not only that, the woman who played Betty Shabazz, you can tell she's not a foundational Black American. You can tell she's not that. You can tell she's from somewhere else because she spoke like a Black woman who just arrived in America.
But even so,
that's how she spoke.
The part that was given to them and how they portrayed Betty, how they portrayed Malcolm, how they portrayed Jim Brown, how they portrayed Muhammad Ali and Sam Cooke, that wasn't their character. You can go back and
defamation.
YouTube them and look at their characters and how they carried themselves. That movie was nothing.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
But
I mean, you know,
yes, sir.
That rooftop scene, brother.
Yeah.
That rooftop scene made us all look like niggas, brother.
Yes, sir. Playing with the man's camera and all that stuff. All that was
Man,
just
like niggas. We must not allow our differences, man, to come out on screen. It makes us vulnerable, brother. See,
yes,
and
sir.
when you allow them to do that, man, to be able to look at us like that and have that, whatever differences that we have, should never be done, man, in front of the camera. Or even portrayed like that. Because what that does is it casts a negative type on us as a people. You know what I mean?
Yes.
It keeps us behind the eight ball, because this is what you know, like in the first credits of the movie, as I said, it let us know that this was fictional. But then it tried to make it seem though that it was events based on events that inspired on events that took place and happened. But how is it going to be fiction but inspired by events that happened? It's a contradiction from the beginning. But just because they put it out there and they gave us these characters that we beloved and that we know have been here. That's the only thing that's true.
The vision has been planted in the minds of those who watched it that don't know.
This is what I'm talking about. This is exactly what I'm talking about. What it does is it leaves an impression.
Yes.
On a young, impressionable mind to believe this is what took place. Because you can best believe, as we sit here and talking about this right now, 10 years down the line, somebody's going to use this movie as this was gold.
Now, what you just said, in slavery, you take the child from the parents and put the mother on one plantation and the father on another plantation and raise those children how you want them to think, how you want them to treat you, how he wants them to act, and those children are going to raise their children to do the same thing over and over again. So when you get into the minds of us now, because we're so divided as a people, someone's able to get a movie and make that, and now the youth are looking at that, and now they're going to look at that, and they're not going to compare it to what we seen or what we know. They're going to move on that. Put the old black man against the young black man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And this is how they create the narrative, and this is how they design things through our movies, through our books. Because even going through the movie a little bit further, at the end of the movie, when you see Sam Cooke singing, right? And he's crying about a change is going to come. And then they go to, you didn't get to that part, brother? All right, let me back up there, because it's the key point that I want to deal with. And at the very end of the movie, then you see Malcolm after the house had got firebombed. You see him sitting at his desk, El Malik at this time, with his hands on a transcript of the autobiography of Malcolm X.
Yes, sir.
On the transcript. And it got Alex Haley.
I get it.
You follow me?
Subliminal suggestion, brother.
I get it. I get it. You know, and I don't want to go back to 2020, but I'm going to go back to 2020. Because when you go to the doctor and get an eye exam, 2020 vision.
That's right.
And everything that you see in 2020, if your eyes did not open up, you blind, you can't see, you better wear some glasses.
Like, that's right,
like
bro.
DMC, right?
Because
yes, sir.
You know, so 2020 is telling not just blacks, but more, I'm talking to us as a people.
Indeed.
Open your eyes up. Now we're going into 2021. Go back and look at I, Robot with Will Smith, and look at the year they're talking about in there.
Yeah.
It's right on time. It's right.
Yes, sir.
The movie, I can't think of the title, with Roddy Piper, where he beating the brother up, trying to make the brother put the glasses on. They Live. Y'all seen that movie? They Live?
Yes, sir.
Please go watch that movie called They Live. And Roddy Piper,
I've seen it.
the wrestler, is seeing some stuff. And they making some statements in there. And he's trying to get the brother to see, but the brother don't want to look. So Roddy Piper had to beat this brother down just to put the sunglasses on him so he could see what he's not seeing. And finally, when the brother put the glasses on, he's like, oh my God. So they've been putting this stuff in front of us for years.
In plain sight, brother.
In plain sight.
Yes, sir.
And we haven't been paying attention. So 2020, last year, was for us to, your vision, you better see, you better take a quick look, because we're going to show you who we are. And it trickled right over to January 6th. They showing you who they are. They showing you who they are. The world can see it, but we right here in America, the children of Israel, the children of America can't see it.
Yes,
the
sir.
house of Israel is showing the children of Israel, let me say that again. The house of America is showing the children of America who they are. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, everywhere you see the word Israel, just put the word America there. Where you see the word children of Israel, put Black America there. And the Bible will open up to you like a big picture house. You will see who you are.
Yes, sir.
Brother, we've been blinded. And now the truth is coming out. And if you don't see the truth now, I don't know what else to say. Maybe, the three of us and those like us need to go build our own community. maybe,
Yes, sir.
maybe we need to go build a Rosewood. Maybe we need to go
But
build Oklahoma City.
Yes, sir.
beloved, wherever we build, you know what we have to do.
But
We have to build an army to protect.
I'm disappointed in that movie. I'm disappointed.
Yes, I mean,
One night in Miami, Ali and Sam go out and party and drink. Oh,
yes,
brother.
Just
brother,
before he was about to make a commitment.
Screenwriter. Brother, when you go look at the screenwriter, what's the screenwriter's name again, brother?
His name, the screenwriter's name is Kip. Yeah.
Say his name again.
Powers.
Ken Powers.
Powers.
Kip Powers is his name.
Kemp.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Powers. Mm-hmm.
Look him up and you will see why it's like that.
Okay.
I'm not going to say it in the air because I know how these people do.
See, but that's my whole point. That's my whole point.
When you see certain, when you think,
brother
Kahree, no.
Yeah, that's my whole point.
Yes, sir.
Brother,
look him up and you will see why the way it is.
The FOI, Brother Kareem was the realest one in the whole movie.
Beloved, Brother Ibrahim.
Yes, sir.
Just elaborate on Kareem in the movie and elaborate on Kareem that you, please.
You just said it, no tolerance.
Elaborate on both Kareem and Brother Kahree. Can you please elaborate on Kareem the movie and elaborate on Kareem that you know? The Kareem you know.
Very humble, but no tolerance. He's not going to take BS. I'm going to be humble with you. I'm your brother. But I just want to go to the Kareem on the roof when Jim Brown stepped to him. No, sir. If you defending or you there to protect your minister, as Malcolm said, by all means necessary, that would have never went down. And there wouldn't have been only two FOI on the scene. There would have been a lot more than that. So,
see,
and Malcolm, yeah, maybe Malcolm would have said, no, stand down, it's okay. But the plane on the roof with the snatching the camera and toss around like little damn children. No, our brother wouldn't allow that to happen, not even amongst us.
Yes, sir.
So that Kareem was sincere and dedicated to his position in the movie, but stand down for protecting Big Red and letting that folly go on.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I don't know how.
See, but we have to. Nas, I don't know if you recall. You remember when they were all in the diner and Muhammad Ali was celebrating the victory, and they was in the diner, and Malcolm peeked out the window.
Yes, sir. I remember that.
About those that was following, that he felt that the FBI was following him.
Right.
And when he peeked, he looked out. When he peeked, he looked out the window. Who was out there giving information and getting money from the FBI?
Some Negroes.
It was. It looked to me as if though it was one of his brothers that was on post that was holding for him.
Yes, sir.
That he stood on.
Yes, sir.
You have to go back.
And I think Malcolm peeped that out.
Yeah, he peeped it.
He peeped that out.
And he saw it. So all I'm saying is that the whole timing of this movie was supposed to have been at a time when Malcolm was supposed to have been sat down after he made the comment of the chickens coming home to roost. So at this time, he
Yes,
was
sir.
in his transitional area to where he was getting ready to break.
Yes.
And this
Yes.
was supposedly, quote unquote, the time when Muhammad was about to come in,
Yes, sir.
but wasn't in the
Beloved,
fold yet.
but beloved, we all know who brought Muhammad Ali to the nation. Rock from the South, brother.
Mm-hmm. Rocket. Yeah.
Abdul Rahmama brought Malcolm to
So
the
talking about,
nation, not Malcolm.
sir, our late brother.
Yes, sir. Peace be upon him.
Yes, sir.
We know who.
You know, so again, this is intentionally done
Yes, sir.
specifically for this time because
Yes, sir.
every 10 or so years they have to
Yes,
create
sir.
another dynamic to touch another facet of our generation or generations
Yes,
to
sir.
come to keep us
Good
further and
teaching.
further away from the truth.
Good
As you
teaching.
so beautifully put, brother Ibrahim.
I'm
Good,
going to say this as well,
good
and
teaching.
because they know about it, it's definitely because of the message that the minister put out in the criterion.
Absolutely.
They can't have that type of message be the last message or the last say that Black America hear, because it came at a time right after George Floyd's death when blacks now realize we gotta stand up. And then the minister came out July 4th, never ever ever expecting George Floyd's death.
Yeah.
Was already being planned to give. He was already planning to give that.
Yeah.
But it all happened in sync, so they can't let that be the last message that Black America have. And I got to test to see who's still with me. Pardon me, the devil. I got to test to see who's still with me and who's against me. So when you
Yes,
got
sir.
individuals like that putting out a movie in such a manner, you should have questioned all that you're putting there. You should have
Yes,
went to
sir.
the minister and asked for his blessing. And if he said, no, that ain't the way it went, you should, like Cicely Tyson said, she said, I never took a role that would discredit Black America.
Yes,
So
sir.
where is our Regina King? Where is our Cicely Tysons and Regina Kings? Where is that in Oprah Winfrey? Where is that in Tyler Perry? When are the new Cicely Tysons or those like her going to stand up and not allow this type of BS to continue taking place?
Yes, sir.
We're not the clowns and buffoons that they want to keep creating. That's not who we are.
Exactly.
I was
Exactly.
disappointed. I was absolutely disappointed. And I can't say too
You
much
know,
more. Just disappointed.
the showing of Muhammad Ali drinking, you know, going out partying and drinking, because if he was still Cassius Clay at the time, I believe.
I sure hope Layla says something about this movie. I sure hope she speaks her opinion. And I know she probably wouldn't know her father at that age, but my God, man, I was
Now,
disappointed.
Layla wasn't born. Layla's not old as I am. She wasn't
Yeah.
born.
But that's what I'm saying. For this movie, I'm just disappointed, man. There's some things I want to say.
It's
I
a
won't camera. I won't say them on this camera, brother.
Yes, sir.
I'm disappointed.
See, but
Yeah,
it's definitely good, and we definitely have to have dialogue on it because when we see these type of things, we have to be able to be able to shine a light,
Right.
Yes,
put that
sir.
light on it. Because if we don't put the light on it and say something about it, man, and combat, man, and be as of an opposition, man, to things that we know, man, are outright just lies and fictional, and give some kind of direction on where we see where they're trying to take this,
Yes,
then
sir.
those that's coming behind us are going to get snared, man, into this false trap that they want to keep us in, so we don't come out of it. Because
We don't
things like this here, man, knock us back, man, another 20 years.
and we don't want that
That
narrative to stand either. We don't want those narratives to stand either.
that spider,
Nah,
Once they
we gotta
set
bust them
forth,
up.
yeah, that web is
gotta
spinning.
quell it.
Yeah, we have to bust them up, man. And
Yes, sir.
our disappointment for them and everything is supposed to be exactly that.
I was
Yes, sir.
so
Exactly.
And also, brother Kahree and brother Kareem, it's the same with the timing with our brother. Now he knew that the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan on the 4th of July was going to speak and do the criterion. And what does our brother do? He goes on to Harker Bay's show and he's promoting his book. And he's speaking about the minister. I'm talking about Malik Zulu Shabazz. I'm saying his name. He knew in his timing, he did his timing. I don't understand why some of our people talk about how wicked this enemy is, and they use the same exact tactics that they use. Do the same exact thing that they use. We have to stop that. We have to stop that. And then
you know,
spelled our brother's name wrong on the cover of the book. Spelled Khaled wrong, 2 L's.
well,
In the
he ain't.
forward, go ahead, beloved.
No. Go ahead. I'm good. Go ahead,
In
beloved.
the forward, in the forward was by Dr. Khaled's son, Farrah.
Farad,
Farrah Gray.
Farad,
Yes, yes. Farrah Gray. Well, the one,
yeah, you want to change his name?
he changed his name from Farrah to Farrah. I don't think I would have changed my name. If I had the name Farrakhan, I'd have kept that.
Yeah, you stayed there.
Um,
Yeah, but the
this
movie was a disappointment, brother.
I was so
Disappointment.
excited to see it when I was told about it. But as I began looking at this movie, I almost wanted to throw up. And I guess I'm throwing up now, verbally with my brothers. But this movie should have never been made. To,
Brother, that's the reason
No,
why we wanted you to look at it.
yeah, to depict Malcolm and who's not alive, and to depict uh, Muhammad Ali, who is not alive, and Sam Cooke, who is not alive, and for Jim Brown, if he's alive, I'm hope if they even confided in him to let this movie happen, I'm disappointed, bro. I'm so disappointed because that movie just made them look like clowns and buffoons, and that's exact. The devil wants to keep using us as a tool and a fool and
Yeah,
also a slave, and that's exactly where this movie took them. It made them look like fools and clowns and buffoons,
they look like
yes,
niggas,
sir.
brother.
Yes, sir.
and that's
Brother,
who they.
if you look at the timeline and when it's supposed to have happened, Jim Brown, Muhammad Ali, Sam Cooke, and Malcolm X were serious. Those brothers were serious. We knew Malcolm was serious, but those other brothers who were not in the nation were serious. Sam Cooke got taken out because he was so serious. Okay. Muhammad Ali, he passed a few years ago.
Right.
Okay, and everybody knows how Jim Brown was in that same nucleus of brothers who came together, you know, with Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and other brothers that were together who was acting on behalf of. But for them to, like Brother Kahree said, the rooftop scene, straight up buffoonery.
Hell, even in the hotel room.
Yeah, that too, bro.
Yes, sir. That too,
That
brother.
too,
That
man.
too. That too. Straight up buffoonery. But I got through it though.
Yeah.
Because
Now,
I knew
one
I
thing
wanted
I
to talk
would say,
to my
the one thing I would say that I liked was when Sam put Malcolm up on some game on the royalties.
Right.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You know,
Indeed.
as far as the economic power and how he was doing things. I said, okay.
Yes, sir.
That was a good
Yes, sir.
tidbit, man, that I can take out of that. But you got to decipher so much, man, just to gain some of it. But majority of that, brother,
But you
just
would have
total
to be
disappointment.
you would have to be you though, brother.
Yeah, total
Ibrahim
disappointment.
himself. To a young, impressionable mind, as you said earlier,
Absolutely, brother. Yeah, yeah.
it's
It's a
poison.
damaging because none of them would catch that. None of them would have caught
Yes,
that
sir.
No.
in the movie.
Yes,
You know what I mean?
yes, sir.
Yeah.
And I looked at that and I said, okay, I got that. I said, now that right there is worth something for those who really understand. You know what I mean?
Yes, sir.
And that gives you, and what that does is give you some kind of premise, man, into the mindset of what Sam Cooke was.
Right.
Yes.
You know what I
Yes.
mean? That right there give you the mind frame of where he was and what he was trying to do, because he said, look, I own all the masters. He said, I own all my masters.
Yes, sir.
You know what I mean? I own the rights to all my stuff.
Right. And the only other man that did that was Charles.
Right. You know what I mean? So he understood. Now that right there, that's okay. Now that's you know, that's game right there.
Right.
I got that.
That era and that time.
Way back then too.
Yeah. I said, now see, that's game right there. You know, I appreciated that. But I can tell you the reason why that happened is because of the line in the field of what this brother Kent Powers is in.
Yes,
So
sir.
he figured he put that there because it
Yes,
gave
sir.
him something. Because you know what I mean, it gave credibility to him. So everybody's always looking for where they can interject themselves somewhere.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
But then you just killed everything else, man, and the whole movie, man. That you just, you know. I agree. I am in agreement with you, brother Ibrahim. It was, you know, I looked at it as like, man, another. It was like another one of. It was another Spike Lee Malcolm X, brother.
Brother,
yes.
You took the right out of my mouth. And like
Spike,
they had to get Spike to write a certain way. Now Spike did go to the minister. The minister told him, look, they're gonna get you to do X, Y, Z. And Spike did it. You know?
Yes, sir.
Denzel played the part. From what I understand, there's parts that were legit that should have been in the movie that they cut out purposely so it wouldn't be played on screen.
Yeah.
Yes,
now
sir.
you got this. There
Trash,
should not
brother.
be another Malcolm X movie being created.
Yeah.
Another Malcolm X. There should be no movie of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, period, unless the nation is creating it themselves.
Yes, sir.
A movie about the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, or Brother Minister Abdul Kareem Muhammad, or Brother Rockman. You know, nobody in the nation, or even Brother Khaled, unless the nation is creating that movie.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
What I've seen tonight so far, I think I got about this much left.
Yes, sir.
I was so disappointed, man. I was like, oh my God. I thought I was going to see something amazing. And I did see something amazing, but it was amazingly shocking that they depicted.
Yes.
Yes, sir. Yeah, bro.
God, man, they
Yeah.
even the role they gave Betty,
Yes.
they made her look like a outright nigger at.
Yep.
You know,
That's the truth. That's the truth.
looked
That's
like
the
they was
truth.
sucking on neck bones and pig feet, man. Like that, who the hell? Sam
Busting
talking.
out a busting out a shirt, looking uncivilized,
Come
brother.
on now. Come on.
Sam talking about, he wanted to talk about he eating some one of them talking about eating pork chops. You know when Ali said he's
Jim
gonna
Brown.
be yeah,
Jim Brown.
come on, man.
Pork chops and white women, right, brother?
Hold up now. Not only Jim Brown, but then you talking about the undisciplined FOI was talking about pork chops too as well.
Wow.
Yes, sir.
He was talking
It's
about that before he came in, you know what I mean, about his mama and stuff, what she was making before he came in. Yeah, he was talking about that too, brother.
He came all the
they
way in, left his
they
post.
always want to reduce.
Came
They always
all
want
the
to
way.
reduce.
But look now, not
They
only
always
that though, as soon as he seen Muhammad Ali when he was walking up there with Malcolm, he was all giddy when he was coming up to the room and stuff. He never held his post. He was already off post, brother.
He was an
yes,
agent.
sir.
He already was off post, brother.
Yes, sir.
Boy, I know y'all want to make the nation look terrible, brother, but that's not the nation I was in. I don't know who that brother was on post for, where they got him from, but if that's the way the brother was around Malcolm, God rest Malcolm's soul. God rest his soul. But if those are the type of brothers around Malcolm, that explains.
And not only,
Yes, right.
I mean, it's so much that was in there, brother. Because when they first came on, and Muhammad went to the hotel, he said he was going for a spiritual guidance,
Right.
and they was performing salat.
Right.
One of the brothers was outside in prayer mode, and then he got out of prayer mode, and the other brother went in prayer mode. Why you on post?
Right.
Oh God.
And that was brother Kareem.
Both of them.
Bro,
right.
Kareem
yes,
first,
right.
while the other one was on, and then when Kareem broke down, then the other brother went into the same posture.
Brother,
I was like, wait a minute.
On the outside of the door,
On the outside.
And then you have
on the outside, brother, while he was on doorposts.
Right. You'd have others scanning and looking and searching. You'd have people at the bottom of the steps on both sides.
Yes, sir.
No walkie-talkies nowhere. None.
Yes, sir.
I'm just looking at him like, all I was like was just, wow.
That wasn't the security.
Really?
No.
Defamation, brother.
You tell me this was, I'm like, this was brother security? Yeah.
Outright defamation.
I mean, there were so many bullet holes, man, I can poke at this, but
yes.
Yeah.
We know what the premise was and what they was trying to do, so I had to take a look at it. Because for a minute I was like, what? When I first seen the premiere, or they was broadcasting that this is what they was doing, I was like, in Miami. Then I looked and I seen the floor. I said, oh, here we go. It's all right.
It's the MC. It's the MC search of why Grip hit him.
The way
that's what it
was depicted in this movie. We had fun, but we had more security and more unity when we was out on the corner selling final calls.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe Regina
You know,
King,
they're not even they wasn't even trying to get that right. They wasn't trying to get that right.
no.
They wasn't trying to get that right.
They threw this together, brother. They threw this together, and they wanted this out and about. And now that the theaters are pretty much closed and everybody's home, we can play this stream on television, and nobody can really. There'll be no real critics out there to really get on us in the public eye, because it's all being streamed at home now.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
So now you got people at home watching this movie in their homes, and they're going, "Oh wow, I didn't know Malcolm was like that. Oh wow, I didn't know Sam Cooke was like that. Oh wow, Muhammad Ali drank. I thought he was a righteous Muslim. All that stuff. And Jim Brown, I thought he was a civil rights leader. Man, what? Why I didn't know they was like. So that what that's going to do is create niggas. Pardon me for saying. Because then I'm
Nah,
like,
this is the truth, bro.
he said,
It
"Don't
made
call."
them. That's what it made them look like.
It's the truth.
Like, what the
It
hell?
made them look like. It made them look like typical Negroes, bro.
And I want to say this as well. When they used the name Kareem, it made me think of our Kareem.
That's what it made me think of too.
But I want to say this. I was upset that they used that name.
Me too.
I was upset to hear that they used Farrakhan. I was upset that they used Elijah Muhammad's name. Damn it, if you're going to use those characters, but don't bring up these other names that you don't even have in the damn movie to defend themselves.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I guess I'm wrong. I'm the wrong panelist for this panel.
No, sir.
I'm the wrong panelist.
No, sir, brother.
When I heard Kareem, no, man. Come on, don't play this. Don't do this.
Yes, sir.
Y'all wrong for this. Y'all so wrong. The devil never stops working.
They was wrong for that whole entire thing, bro. They was wrong about everything, brother. All of it was wrong.
Anything good from the devil? Emphatically, no.
That's right,
yes,
brother.
Sir. Yes, sir.
You know, I just say, brother. So what were we expecting?
I was expecting everything that I seen, brother, because it's the same old saying.
You know,
oh my God, man. After seeing Malcolm X, that movie, I thought maybe somebody came to senses. Well, I'm not, truthfully speaking, I'll be honest with you. First of all, I didn't know what One Night in Miami was going to be about. Let me change that. But I thought it was going to be something that was going to be positive for me to see and we can elaborate on. And man, it was terrible from the beginning, man. It was just terrible. And when I looked at the preview for American Skin and seeing that take place, it made me think of Trayvon Martin. It made me think just made me think of all of the brothers and Breonna Taylor. Just made me think. Look, the police officer, even with Breonna Taylor, wants to sue the boyfriend.
All of them brothers, man.
Come on, man. You kicked the wrong door and you expect the brother not to find. He don't know who you are. So you want to sue him?
And then our sister, Tatiana Jefferson, too.
Come on, man. Come on, brother. It just keeps repeating itself over and over again. It's almost like you want to create a race war. And Brother Kahree, you mentioned at the beginning, we are humble people. We're not that type of people. But as the minister said, as you said in the Criterion, you know, they ain't going to respect you until they start having a body bag for a body bag.
That's it.
Yes, sir.
A funeral for a funeral.
That's it.
A casket for a casket.
Then they'll want to negotiate.
You know,
They don't
Nat
want to
Turner
talk.
must have been one that got tired.
Hmm.
And I'm using that name, Nat Turner, but he wasn't the only Nat Turner. There were many like him.
Oh, brother. Plenty.
They
Yes,
used him as the example.
yes,
But he must have got so fed up and decided to make his move that they said, look, man, you know, get your wives and your children and get the hell out of here, because Nat Turner went crazy. It's almost like you want to create a race war. And if they believe that in this United States of America, that blacks are going to stand down and just let whatever happens happen, it ain't that type of black man and woman in America no more. The women will fight faster than the men. I'm going to say that again. The sisters will fight faster than the men. Most of them anyway. Because the men too busy trying to be somebody else.
yes, sir.
And brother,
that's go ahead, brother Kahree.
Now I was listening to brother. I think brother Ibrahim wanted to make another point.
Bill Gates and Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, it ain't going to stop them. There's a petition going on for him to stand down because he's now the largest farm owner in the world.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Mostly of the United States. They've already been genetically modifying a lot of stuff.
Oh, brother.
But because brothers like us follow the teachings of the most honorable Elijah Muhammad and eat one meal a day, I'm going to say every now and then I might eat a snack because I might not be able to hold off until that midnight meal. But because we eat one meal a day, we're able to fight off that genetically modifying stuff. And it doesn't affect us the way it affects others, where the sisters are now wanting to be men and the brothers are now wanting to be other than themselves. You know, that hasn't affected us because we're following the teaching of the most honorable Elijah Muhammad. And from the thinking down to the body language and things of that nature, if people cannot see, I recall years ago in the church that I went to, my mother kept trying to get me to join the choir because I could sing. And I just didn't want to put one of those robes on. I kept telling her no. And you got the pianist and you got the choir conductor, both of them men, but they dated each other. And in my mind, even though I didn't know about the Nation of Islam then, in my mind, I didn't want mom to know, I don't want to be a part of that, mom. Boy, you could sing. No, I want to. And then I would try to join, but then I couldn't. I told him I would join, and I was supposed to show up that night for choir practice, and then I didn't show up. I just couldn't. And then I show up at the mosque one day for my brother Martin X picking me up and bringing me to the mosque, as I shared with y'all earlier. And the minute the minister spoke, and I heard the three brothers come on before the minister came on at the end, I was like, how could I be down? I was ready to join that tune. I was ready to dance to that drum. So what was it in the message there that got me to fall in love with the truth opposed to the so-called truth I was seeing and getting at the church? That lie where I'm going is still being told today, and other young men are getting that message. And you finding more and more brothers that are becoming gay in the church, more and more sisters who want to be men or boys in the what I thought you can come before God one way, but you can't stay that way if it ain't according to what God said you're supposed to be.
That's what I was told. Come as you are. But I'm sure you can't remain if you come in like that, brother.
What happened to the story of Sodom and Gomorrah? They don't talk about that no more. So
Well,
when you look at Lot, he was a warrior for God. And the
Yes,
two
sir.
angels that came to him in the night, when the men came and said, hey, send them out so we can have our way with them, Lot said, get out of here. Take my daughters. The angels is even warriors. They said, stand back, brother. They ain't say, brother, I'm paraphrasing now. Stand back, brother. Let me blind them so they can't see, so you and your wife and your daughters can get the hell up out of here. What happened to that? What happened to Moses with his rod? What happened to Aaron? And what happened to those warriors of God?
you know, we have
Watered this
people,
thing.
and they more than watered it down, brother. They did some other things to it. You know, things are not, of course, how they should be. And if you speak those type of truths, you are seen as a hateful person. You know, you can't even tell the truth these days. They call you hateful. They call you bigoted, and they want to silence you just for speaking the truth.
Well, you know, we had
I
live
mean,
telephone up back in the day.
look,
We need to study group again and start growing back and grabbing the young brothers.
we
And
need to, because
yeah, we
if somebody else is going to grab them. And you see what's going on in these streets, brother. You see how these young brothers are dressing. You see how they behaving.
you know, to see Will Smith even dress in a skirt or whatever you want to call it, and you got young men, whether they be black or white, following him, they done made that crap a trend. You know, brothers
Yeah,
dressing in skirts and uh,
that's
skinny
that's
jeans.
the they make it trendy. That's how they do it, because self-destruction, brother, is served on a platter. They serve you self-destruction, brother. Um, and it's set. They do it through trends. And whenever you have certain people meeting with certain people, like, you know, prison officials meeting with record executives, you know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? And and you have people that have nothing to do with entertainment meeting with entertainers and meeting with record executives. That means that somebody is doing some evil doing, and they're in cahoots. Now it's no secret that the school to prison pipeline and the music to prison pipeline, it's not coincidental, because they were, I believe it was 1989 or 1990, prison officials started meeting with the record executives.
Yeah.
And they started making music, like they said they touched on it in the movie American Skin. They touched on it.
Mm-hmm.
They
I
talked
have
about, because they talked about the hip hop music. The cop talked about the hip hop music and how detrimental it is to white children and to black children. But we have to understand, we always have to go to, when it comes to distribution, when it comes to making a product, you have to always refer to the executive producer who distributes this music that these people hate so much, that's so detrimental. And not only that, a lot of our brothers will love to spit real bars in hip hop, but they will not get any record play. They will not get a deal. They are told to dumb down their lyrics, or they
Yeah,
won't get a deal.
they're told that that's not what's trending, and it doesn't
Exactly.
appeal it doesn't appeal to the audience that we're trying to capture. You have to
It's
you have to do a little bit more vulgarity in your music. You need a little
exactly,
bit more booty shaking in your music. You need a little
exactly.
bit more cleavage because people buy that. They don't buy
Yeah,
all that consciousness inside of your music.
exactly. They don't want wise and intelligent. They want
They want little
um
baby, little
yeah,
boost.
everybody got to be little, immature, little this, little that, baby this, baby that. No grown man. They don't want a grown man and want they grown man calling themselves the baby. A grown man. You
Anything with
have
big attached to it that got killed or murdered. Big L, Biggie
all
Small.
the yes,
All the
that's right.
big Sean better watch out because he might be next.
Mm.
Anything that
Yes,
got big associated to it, man, is a problem because you think you're gonna be big. So we try and get rid of you. But as long as you
exactly.
little and baby, everything is all right. You know, little dirt.
And they'll reward you for that.
Yeah.
You get rewarded.
You know, Donald Trump, I heard Curtis Jackson, 50 Cent, on an interview on, what's that show that Charlemagne is on?
The
The
Breakfast
morning
Club,
show,
Yeah,
the
Breakfast Club.
Breakfast Club.
Breakfast Club. And 50 said, I wanted to come to y'all because, you know, Donald Trump's camp sent him a message that they would pay him $500,000 to come to his campaign when he was campaigning. And 50 thought about it and said, nah, I don't want to come. And then they offered him $1 million. And he said, then I definitely knew I needed to turn it down. But there was some that showed up. Lil Wayne.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Lil Wayne.
Little brain.
Okay, be out there in a minute, baby. Thank you.
Little
Uh,
brain.
yeah, Steve Harvey.
Uh-huh.
Several others showed up because they took the payola. Now, my question is this. I didn't say that so much to expose them. There's a question behind it, and the question is this. If you already millions, why the hell did you need 500,000 or $1 million just to show up at an event to take a picture with Donald Trump?
Yeah.
What you
Photo
need?
op.
You already making millions. Beyonce and Jay-Z was offered it. They turned it down. But if you already making millions, I'm gonna take 500,000 just to show up to your event so you can have recognition that there's some blacks that love you. What does
That's all it was.
500,000 do? What is $1 million going to do if you already making that hand over fist? Or are they really broke? That's just the question I want to throw out there.
Well, we have to remember too that before Donald Trump became president, he used to hang around these guys, man, in these celebrity circles, brother.
Yeah, I
Yes,
didn't know.
sir.
I guess I
Yeah,
was.
he used to be in the circles with. He was in these places around with these characters and these cats and hung out with them. Mary J, Puff, at different events and stuff that they went to. He was there.
Sure did. Sure did.
See, there on years ago, back in 88, 89, when he was doing interviews with the Today Show and different other media outlets, they asked him, would he ever consider running for president? And his statement to him was, yeah, I'd run. I won't think about it. I don't really want to, but if I was to run, I would run and be a Republican because they're too stupid to know the difference there. And I probably am making him be president.
You said that.
And lo and behold, brother, he ran as a Republican and he became president.
Yeah.
But he was
Definitely
in
low.
the circles with these people, brother.
Yes, sir.
He
Yeah.
partied with them. He did with them. He said
Just
smoke with them.
him and
He
Jeffrey
was,
Epstein.
yeah, he was friends with them.
You know, you just said something. Kamala Harris was on the same morning show, and she was asked the question, "Do you or did you puff?" And she said yes. The question that they didn't ask her, if you puffed the joint, and she's used the word joint, yeah, I puffed. If
Brother.
that's the case, why did you lock brothers up for all those years for caught with a joint?
Most of them do drugs. Most of them do drugs. The same drugs they lock you up for, they do. And if Kamala Harris, if she dated Montel Williams, she definitely puffed.
Well, that's
Montel
news.
Williams, straight up, he puffed because he had multiple
Well,
sclerosis,
Mm.
and he
brothers,
definitely smoked some weed.
my wife have called on me a few times, and I gotta go assist her,
Yes, sir.
brother. In the voice of one of my successful mentors outside of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan is Les Brown when it comes down to motivating people.
Yes, sir.
Been a plum pleasing pleasure sitting with you brothers tonight.
Yes, sir. Absolutely, brother.
Pleasure.
And I look forward to doing it again and again and again.
Yes,
But
sir.
I really, 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 after seeing that movie tonight, I gotta go finish the rest because I don't like ending it on a short note. It's letting me know what I have to do. I have to start building my study group because I
Yes,
can't
Yes, sir.
sir.
talk to
Yes,
our
sir.
future and our future learn that BS because that BS is not true.
Yes, sir.
So,
Yes,
brother,
sir.
before I
We
leave
can't
you, I
stand.
say,
Walaikum salam,
Yes, sir.
sir.
yes, sir,
Walaikum
Salute.
salam, big brother.
sir.
Yes, sir.
Indeed, brother.
Yes,
Powerful
sir.
bill. I enjoyed this. We just got to do it. We just got to, we getting our feet wet, brother. And we're gonna,
Yes,
of
sir.
course, we're gonna
No doubt.
more people listen. The more we do it, the more people will gravitate towards it, and just gonna keep it strong, brother. You know,
Yes, sir.
just gonna keep it strong. Get our study, and to show ourselves approved and teach our people. That's what it's about. Because we can't let those narratives stand.
Mm-mm.
Come out and tell our people the truth. If we
Yes,
don't
sir.
come out and tell our people the truth, no one's going to do it. We have to, take that responsibility, put it on our back, and carry it, and give our people the nutrients that they need. Because if you see what's going on, you see the poison that we're being fed on all levels. As you said, an impressionable young brother or sister see that movie, they're gonna go with that narrative.
Absolutely. They're gonna go with that narrative.
And we have to change the narrative. We have to, as the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan said on the Criterion, he said, "Well, truth and falsehood until when, brother?
That's right. Till we knock
Until,
out his brains, brother.
sir, yes, sir,
You know?
and that's what we're gonna do from this day forward. So help me Allah, brother."
Yes,
Um,
sir.
you have any last statement before we close the broadcast?
No, sir, brother. I mean, just a pleasure, man, being amongst the brotherhood. It was very, very, very grateful to have brother Ibrahim, man, come through today. And we look
Sir.
forward to being
Brother,
with our brother, man.
yes, sir. Brother Chris tried to come in, but by the time I seen him on the
Yes,
bottom
sir.
of the page, I tried to bring him in. He had clicked off.
Yes, sir.
Um,
Yes, sir.
I would love
I think I
because
see him too. Yeah.
yes, sir. He was speaking to us in the chat. I was
Okay.
back
Yes,
to
sir.
him. So I would love
Okay.
for the to have come in too because sure he has something intricate to say. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. You know, the next time we'll just bring him in when we
Mm-hmm.
start the press. Because a
Yeah.
lot of times,
Give him a heads up. Yeah.
yes, sir. That way
Give
we
him a
can
heads
bring him.
up.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Yeah.
sir. Well, on that note, this is the enemy's public, and I am Brother Nasir.
And I'm Brother Kahree.
Like, share, subscribe, leave a comment in the comment section. Peace. Salute,
Peace.
brother.
Yes, sir.